Hey everyone, in this video we are going to study more about statistical distributions, and it is important for anyone who is learning data science. So in this video we will cover introduction to statistical distribution and its importance, along with four types of distribution, that is uniform, normal, binomial and Poisson distribution, also along with some real life examples. So let us first understand what is statistical distributions and why it is important. Statistical distributions are mathematical functions that describes the probability of a different outcomes in an experiment. That is, it shows the possible value for a variable and how often they occur. For example, let's take one example. Experiment. We have one experiment of rolling a die. Possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And as we know, sample space is nothing but set of all possible outcomes. So for this experiment our sample space will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Note one thing, here all outcomes are equally likely. Now what do you mean by this equally likely? When probability for all the possible outcomes are same now, then that is called equally likely event. And this type of distribution is called uniform distribution. Just like in this example, probability of getting 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 is equals to 1 by 6. Here you can see probability of x is equals to 1 is equal to 1 by 6 and so on. Now a statistical distribution helps us in understanding the variability, patterns and distributions within the set of data. Let's say you have some data set again containing some columns and rows. Now you want to understand about its variability, patterns and distribution that is following, then a statistical distribution is of help. Now let's go on to second page. Now why understanding statistical distribution is important for machine learning? First of all, data modeling. Knowing the distribution of your data can help you select appropriate model or algorithm for your task. Different algorithms perform better on data with specific distributions. For example, linear regression assumes that the residuals error are normally distributed, while naive Bayes assumes that features follows a Gaussian distribution for continuous data. Second point, data pre-processing. Knowing the distribution of your data can help in making decisions about missing data, normalization and other pre-processing steps like standardization and many more, which you will see on our next video. Now third point is statistical test. By understanding the distribution properly, you can use right test for your analysis like t-test, f-test, chi-square test and all, and many more. In conclusion, we can say that it is important for anyone who wants to be a successful data scientist to know about statistical distributions. Now let's start with uniform distribution. What is uniform distribution? The uniform distribution describes a situation where all outcomes are equally likely. It can be continuous or discrete. As we have seen above, what is equally likely? For example, we have a experiment rolling a die. Set of all possible outcomes are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and probability of each outcome is equals to 1 by 6. And this type of event is uniform. This type of situation is uniform distribution. Parameters. For continuous uniform distribution, we have minimum value as A and maximum value as B. And for discrete uniform distribution, we have minimum integer A and maximum integer B. I assume that you know what is continuous and discrete as of now. Now let's see graphical representation of uniform distribution. We already know that if we sum up all the probabilities of outcomes in any random experiment, then it will be equals to 1 or area must be equal to 1, right? So in this graph, let's say we have this graph like this. Starting point is A and end point is B. So area must be equals to 1, right? So probability of a random variable x greater than equals to A and less than equals to B must be equals to 1, and this is nothing but area, and area is defined as height into width. Therefore area is equals to height into width is B minus A. This is our width, right? Therefore we can find out the height. What will the height of this graph? Height is equals to 1 divided by B minus A. Taking this B minus A this side, so it will be divided by 1. Sorry, 1 will be divided by B minus A, and this is equals to P of x or F of x as represented in this graph, P of x or F of x. Therefore now let's say we want to find what will be the probability of random variable x lying between C and D. Therefore how will we find out? We will just apply this formula and this area concept. Probability of random variable x greater than equals to C and less than equals to D is equals to height into width. Height is equals to 1 divided by B minus A, and width is equals to D minus C. D minus C. Therefore this will be our probability. Now you just need to remember this three things: mean, median and standard deviation for every distribution. For the uniform distribution we have mean or expected value as C plus D by 2, median as A plus B by 2, and standard deviation as square root of D minus C ka whole square divided by 12. This is our standard deviation. Just remember this formula. Along with this PDF for uniform distribution. What will be the PDF for uniform distribution? For example, x is lying between A and B, that is x is greater than equals to A and less than equals to B. Then our PDF f of x equals to 1 divided by B minus A, as we have found out here. This is nothing but PDF, probability distribution function. It is equals to 1 divided by B minus A and 0 otherwise. I know you must. Let's see some of the examples to get more clear about this distribution. Example, we have one experiment of rolling a die. As we know, probability of x equals to 1 equals to probability of x equals to 2, and so on till probability of x equals to 6 is equals to 1 by 6. Just note this point. For uniform distribution, the PMF for discrete data is constant and can be described as probability of random variable x is equals to small x is equals to 1 by n, where n is number of possible outcomes. In this example, rolling a die, we have number of possible outcomes, n is equals to 1 by 6. So therefore probability of each outcome is equals to 1 by 6. Now what will the graph of this experiment? Graph is nothing but like this. We will plot possible outcomes in x axis and probability in y axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in x axis, and probability for all is same, that is 1 by 6. So we will plot like this. Now let's see second example. Bus is uniformly late between 2 and 10 minutes, right? How long can you expect to wait? With what standard deviation? If it's Now let's see second example. Bus is uniformly late between 2 and 10 minutes, right? How long can you expect to wait? With what standard deviation? Note one thing, if it's greater than 7 minutes late, you will be late for work. What is the probability of you being late? So first of all, we will find out the mean of this distribution. Mean or expected value is nothing but 2 plus 10 by 2 is equals to 12 by 2, that is 6 minutes. Now standard deviation, as we have seen above, standard deviation is square root of d minus c ka whole square divided by 12. So 10 minus 2 ka whole square divided by 12 is equals to 64 by 12 ka square root. That will come approx 2.31 minutes. Now it is asking what is the probability of you being late. That is what is the probability that I will be late for my work. As it is mentioned here, I will be late if it is greater than 7 minutes or above. And as we know, bus is late for maximum of 10 minutes. So probability of being late is lie between 7 and 10. Probability of random variable x less than equals to 10 and greater than equal to 7 is equals to 10 minus 7 divided by 10 minus 2 is equals to 3 by 8 is equals to 0.375. Now let's move on to normal distribution. Now what is normal distribution? It is also known as Gaussian distribution and it is a continuous distribution that describes the data clustering around a central mean. That is, data is clustered around its central mean. A bell-shaped curve symmetric around the mean. The height and width of the curve are determined by the standard deviation. That is, height and width of this curve will be determined by the standard deviation. Now just remember this magic formula 68, 95 and 99.7. Now let's understand what this formula means. Let's see here. As mentioned above, in normal distribution, data is clustered around a central mean with mean, that is, it is represented by mu mean, and 68, 95, 99.7. This means 68% of distribution data lie between mu minus sigma and mu plus sigma. Similarly, 95% of distribution data lie between mu minus 2 sigma and mu plus 2 sigma. And similarly, 99% of distribution data lie between mu minus 3 sigma and mu plus 3 sigma. Now let's see one example to get more clear or understanding about this normal distribution. Imagine you and your friends took a math and science test, right? But the scores are out of different numbers. Math test out of 100, science test out of 50. Now let's say your friends got 90 in maths, right? And you scored 45 in science. It looks like you both performed really well, but it is hard to compare who performed better because their scores are on different scales. Different scales means math test is out of 100 and science test is out of 50. So it is difficult to compare who performed better. So now here comes a concept of standardizing. Standardizing the normal distribution, also known as converting it to standard normal distribution. What standardizing do? Standardizing makes the distribution having mean of 0 and standard deviation of 1. This process is also referred to as Z-score transformation. What standardizing do? Standardizing makes a distribution having the mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. And this is also known as Z-score transformation. And the standard normal distribution graph will look something like just like this. Mean at center with 0 and a standard deviation as 1, 2, 3 upon moving to the right side, and it is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 upon moving on to the left side. Now let's see how to calculate Z-score. Z-score is equals to x. X is here x is our data point, minus mu, which is mean, whole divided by sigma, which is standard deviation. A Z-score tells us a number of standard deviation. A value is from the mean of a given distribution. This makes it easier to understand the relative position of data point within the distributions. And due to this, it will be easy for us to compare any two data, where it lies, whether it is above mean or below mean. And if it is above mean, then how much is standard deviation it is above from the mean, and if it is below mean, then how much is standard deviation it is below from the mean. Just remember this point, guys. Z-score of 0 indicates that the data point is exactly at the mean. Z-score of 1 indicates that the data point is 1 standard deviation above the mean, and Z-score of minus 1 indicates that the data point is 1 standard deviation below the mean. Let's see some of the examples to get more clear. Here we have been given just height, mean is 66 inch and standard deviation is 2 inch. After plotting it as a standard deviation, we will get, as we know, mean is a center point of normal distribution graph, so 66, and a standard deviation is 2 inch. Though upon going right side, we will add 2, that is mu plus sigma, mu plus 2 sigma, and mu plus 3 sigma. And upon going to the left side, we will subtract 2, that is mu minus sigma, mu minus 2 sigma, mu minus 3 sigma. Therefore, we have been given mean is 66 inch and mu plus sigma 66 plus 2 68, 68 plus 2 70, 70 plus 2 72. Similarly, we will do this side, and this is unstandardized normal distribution. Now we want to see where our data point x is equal to 67 will lie in this standard normal distribution. For this to find out, we will find our z score. Z score is equals to 67, our data point, minus mu, that is mean, and mean is 66, divided by standard deviation, that is 2. After solving, we will get z score equal to 0.5. Now what do you mean by z score is equal to 0.5? This simply means our data point, that is x equals to 67, is 0.5 standard deviation above the mean. Why above the mean? Because our z score is positive. If it is minus 0.5, then we will say that our data point is minus 0.5 standard deviation below the mean. So for this data point x equal to 67, our z score is 0.5, that means our data point is 0.5 standard deviation above the mean, and here it will lie between 0 and 1 in center. Now to find probability for normal distribution, we use something known as z score chart. Now we find out z score, right? Now to find out the probability, we will use the z score chart and z score table, and it is important, guys. Let's say we have z score is equal to 0.31, then what will be the probability? To find out, we will use z score table, 0.31, right? So first of all, we will see this 0.3 here and 0.01 lies here. So at the intersection of this point, we will get 0.31, and this will tell the probability of getting that 0.62172. Therefore, our probability is equal to 0.62172. Now this is important point you must know. Z score table gives probability or percentage or area under the standard normal distribution curve to the left of Z. Just remember, guys, to the left of Z. In a standard normal distribution, when we find out the z score probability from z score using z score table, then it gives a probability or percentage or area under the curve under the standard normal distribution curve to the left of z, that it will lie here to the left side of z. Okay, let's see one example. In a high school, the scores on a math test are normally distributed with a mean mu of 70 and a standard deviation sigma of 10. One student scores 85 on the test. What is the z score for this student test score? Now to find z score, as we know, z is equals to data point minus mu divided by standard deviation. We have been given with data point is 85, mu is given as 70, and standard deviation is 10. So z score is equal to 85 minus 70 divided by 10, which is, after solving, we will get 1.5. Now what does this z score of 1.5 means? Z score of 1.5 means that the student score is 1.5 standard deviation above the mean. Apart from this, what else we can conclude from z score? Z score is positive and it is 1.5. So it means that the student perform better than the average student because it is above the mean. 1.5 standard deviation above the mean. Above the mean means above the average. So a student perform better than the average student. Now we want to find out the probability again or percentage. So z score of 1.5, after seeing the chart, you will get probability is equal to 0.9332, or in percentage it is 93.32. So this means a student scored better than 93.32 percentage of students. This is what is meant by this percentage. That is, a student scored better than 93.32 percentage of students present in classroom. Now let's move on to binomial distribution. First of all, let us understand what is binomial distribution and how to understand if an experiment follows a binomial distribution or not. The definition for binomial distribution: the binomial distribution models a number of successes in a fixed number of independent trial of a binary experiment. Don't worry for now, you will get it slowly. let's understand what makes an experiment a binomial distribution. Just learn this word, bins. If you want to know whether an experiment follows a binomial distribution or not, you just need to check these 4 points. Bins. Remember it by bins, guys. B for binary outcomes, I for independent trials, and for number of trials must be mentioned in an experiment, and as for some same probability for each trial. If an experiment satisfies all 4 conditions, then it follows a binomial distribution. Key terms you must remember. Trial, an experiment or process that can result in 2 possible outcomes, success or failure. Example, tossing a coin, rolling a die. No, rolling a die will not be example, because there must be only 2 possible outcomes, and while rolling a die there are 6 possible outcomes. So sorry, my mistake, guys. Only tossing a coin will be example of this trial. Success, the outcome we are interested in. Getting hits when flipping a coin. Just like getting hits when flipping a coin, we want to get hits while flipping a coin. That will be our success. Probability of success, the chance of success in one trial. What will the probability for getting hits in a coin flip? That is P equal to 0.5. Number of trials, the total number of trials or experiments. Flipping a coin 10 times, therefore n will be equals to 10. Number of success, the number of times we get a success in those trials. Example, getting 7 hits in 10 flip. Okay. To find out the probability of getting exactly k successes in n trials, we use this formula. Just remember this, guys. Probability of x equals to k is equals to n choose k, p raised to the power k multiplied by 1 minus p raised to the power n minus k, where this n choose k is nothing but n factorial divided by k factorial into n minus k factorial. Let's see one question to get more clear. Let's say we toss a fair coin 10 times. What is the probability of getting exactly 7 hits? Here n is equals to 10 and k equals to 7. K is what? Number of success, guys. That is we want to get 7 hits. N is what? Number of trials. That is we want to flip our coin 10 times. Okay. Now probability of x equals to 7 is equals to 10 choose 7, p raised to the power 7, 1 minus p raised to the power 10 minus 7. So probability of x equals to 7 will get, after solving, will get approximately 0.117, or there is approximately an 11.7% chance of getting exactly 7 hits in 10 coin tosses. Now let's see graph for binomial distribution. The graph for binomial distribution depends on the value of n and p. N is what? Number of trials, and p is probability of success. N is number of trials and p is probability of success. So graph for binomial distribution will depend on the values of n and p. Typical shape, there are 2 typical shape. One is symmetric shape and other is skewed shape. Symmetric when probability is equal to 0.5. When the probability of success is 0.5, like flipping a fair coin, the graph is symmetric, bell shaped, centered around n by 2. And for skewed shape, there are two scenarios. One is when probability is less than 0.5, and another is when probability is greater than 0.5. So first one, left is skewed when probability is greater than 0.5. More trials will result in success. So the graph has a peak towards higher value of k. And in second, right is skewed when probability is less than 0.5. Fewer trials will result in success. So the graph has a peak towards lower value of k. Note, this distribution is useful for predicting outcomes in repeated experiment with 2 possible outcomes. Just remember that bins, guys. B, I, N, S. B for binary outcome, I for independent trial, N for number of trial, and S for same probability for each success. Yeah, same probability for each trial, and number of trial must be mentioned. No? So next time you toss a coin 10 times, you can use the binomial distribution to know how likely you are to get a certain number of hits. Now let's move on to our last distribution, that is Poisson distribution. Poisson distribution, it is a probability distribution that measures how many times an event is likely to occur within a specified period of time. It is probability distribution that measures how many times an event is likely to occur within a specified period of time. Key terms you need to remember: event, interval, mean rate. Event, something that happens, like a car arriving at a toll booth. Interval, a fixed period of time or space, like 1 hour or 1 kilometer. Mean rate, the mean rate is represented as lambda, the average number of events happening in that interval. For example, if on average 4 cars arrive at a toll booth every hour, then our lambda is equal to 4. Now let's understand this with the help of an example. Imagine a call center receives an average of 3 calls per hour. You want to find out the probability of receiving exactly 5 calls in an hour. To calculate the probability of getting exactly k events in a fixed interval, we use this formula: probability of x is equal to k is equal to lambda times k e raised to the power minus lambda divided by k factorial. Lambda is average number of events, and k is number of events. We want to find probability 4. So for above question we have k is equal to 5. That is, we want to find out the probability of receiving exactly 5 calls in an hour, and lambda is equal to 3. That is, average number of call is 3 calls per hour. Using above formula, after solving probability of x equal to 5 equal to 3 raised to the power 5 e raised to the power minus 3 divided by 5 factorial, we will approximately get 0.101. So there is approximately a 10.1% chance of receiving 5 calls in an hour. Now graph shape. The shape of Poisson distribution graph depends on the mean rate lambda. And typical shape, there are 2 typical shapes. For a small lambda, the graph is skewed to the right with a peak near 0, and for large lambda, the graph becomes more symmetrical and bell shaped. Note this point: Poisson distribution is useful for rare events. That is, it is useful for predicting number of events in scenarios where events occur independently with a constant average rate. So next time you think about events happening randomly over time, like car arriving at a toll booth, you can use Poisson distribution to to understand and find probabilities. Let's summarize what we have studied in this video. First of all, uniform distribution. Memory hook: rolling a fair die. Key point: every outcome has an equal chance, just like each number a die is equally likely. Number 2, by normal distribution. Memory hook: scores on a class test, heights of a people, or clicking on a space bar. This is interesting, guys. Clicking on a space bar. Clicking on the space bar is example when I was learning from Chris Nixon. He told this example. Clicking on a space bar. For example, this is a space bar. People often click on the center mostly. So number of clicks in the center is higher as compared to number of clicks in at both end. So this is typically a normal distribution. Key point: most data is around the average, like most people height are close to average height. Binomial distribution. Memory hook: flipping a coin. Key point: it's about counting how many times you get a certain result, like hits in each set number of trials. Poisson distribution. Memory hook: calls at a call center. Key point: it counts how many times something happens in a set time period, like how many calls a call center will receive in an hour. That's all for today, guys. Thank you. Have a nice day. Let's see you in the next video.